Here's Johnny.
Who's the best?
Put that cookie down!
What's in the box? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
This is Video Store Clerks. Welcome to the store.
Don't do that! Never, never, never throw chips at the host. Good evening.
That was all about, but okay.
This is the Video Store Clerks Podcast. We are your clerks for the evening. I'm Dave.
Jamming. Mike.
Nasty.
Bam. And we are here with you tonight. We thank you for joining us. As tonight's movie is, in my opinion, a gem from the 1990s, a gem from the John Carpenter collection. That's right. We will be talking In the Mouth of Madness. Is this reality?
Probably
Is
not.
it fiction? I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows? But we'll be talking about the bonafide classic here tonight, so join us. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can join us live every week, Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. And please jump in the chat, jump in the conversation. But first, we will start the program as we always do, and that is with some news.
A Boise, Idaho woman is considered a medical miracle. Laura Esterman was struck by lightning nearly a month ago, and she was considered officially dead. Thankfully, CPR from her mom revived her heart, but she laid in a coma for 2 weeks, and then she defied all odds and woke up. Well, obviously, there was a problem with that tape. She doesn't really sound like that.
She woke up with a remix.
That's good
My.
Starting things off, the top 10. These are your top 10 box office winners, domestic totals for this past weekend. What do we got?
Number 10, Anora, doing 1.7 mil this week, putting his 5-week stretch up to $10.3 million.
A what-a?
Anora.
A what?
A snora?
Bless you.
A menorah?
Hakuna Matata?
Maybe.
Yeah, I never heard of this fucking movie.
This next one's a weird one because it's number 9. This week it did 2.2 million, but for the last 3 weeks it's only done 2.9 million. And that's a real pain. They were having a real pain starting this movie out.
Yeah, I don't know about that fucking one either. Jesus.
No idea. Lost. And then the first week out is number 8, Hello, Love Again. Did 2.3 opening weekend.
Did nobody go to the movies this past weekend?
No.
Is that what happened?
No.
The fuck is that movie? Like, it's so weird to me because when I was a kid, I paid attention to every review. I used to watch all those fucking stupid Siskel and Ebert shows, and now I'm hearing these movies every fucking week, and I'm like, "What's this one? Never heard of this shit. What the fuck is that? Who told me?" No, I didn't get the fucking memo about that one.
Yeah, I used to watch the trailers to kind of get some kind of insight on what these movies were, but then on the recent ones that came out, I'm like, no.
Well, I think that's the problem nowadays. You have to search it out. It's not like, back when we were watching cable television all the time and we just get automatically fed commercials with trailers and whatnot.
True.
So streaming has taken that away. So if you want to kind of understand what's going on in the film world, you have to seek it out.
Yeah. Fuck all that.
Yeah.
Number 7, Conclave.
What?
The two. Huh? Conclave?
What'd you say? Conclave.
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 Did 2.8 mil this week. In the last 4 weeks, it's did 26.5. Not too shabby. Number 6, falling off quick. Smile 2 did 2.9 mil this week, putting its 5-week release up to 65.5. And number 5, hanging still, is The Wild Robot, doing 4.2 million, doing 138 in the past 8 weeks.
Interesting.
So that's the moneymaker.
The moneymaker.
Yeah. Number 4 is Heretic, doing 5.1 mil this week, doing 20.3 the last 2 weeks. Still haven't seen that yet, but it's definitely on my to-go see list.
I've heard a lot of good things about it, man. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything bad about it, so we'll see what happens. So number 3, the best Christmas pageant ever. Doing 5.2 million this week, putting its 2 weeks up to $19.7 million.
God. Like, no, just I hate hearing Christmas movies that aren't horror related. Like, we're not there yet. Like, I get it, it's next month, but for fuck's sakes.
Don't be a Grinch.
Bah fucking humbug. Okay?
Wow.
Bah humbug. Fuck Christmas.
There's only 2 left. Number 2 being Venom: The Last Dance, 7.3 million. 4 weeks, 128 million. Not too shabby.
What was this one? What was that one?
Venom 3.
What?
Venom.
Venom.
Venom. Okay, sorry. It sounded like you were saying phenom. And I was
Phenom.
like, what the fuck is
The
phenom?
Phenom.
The Undertaker.
Has
phenomenal
a movie
dancing
came out
partner.
that I didn't know about?
Number 1, another Christmas film. The Red Number 1. The
Red one. Red one at number 1.
Doing $32 million.
That's not so good.
Dwayne
It
Johnson
looks-
semi-stealing the box office again.
It looks kind of funny, actually.
There you have
How
it.
could it not?
There's your top 10.
Top 10. Holiday movies are in and about.
Yep. Another news, Dave Coulier, probably best known as Uncle Joey from the TV show Full House.
Or the one that Atlanta that went down on in a theater.
What?
You went down in the theater?
Did you know the story about that? Her whole album, Jagged Little Pill, was about Dave Coulier.
She went down on him.
That's what I said. That she went down on him in a theater. Yeah.
I thought you said, isn't he the guy that went down on the theater? I'm like, everyone?
Yes, but no, that wasn't the story. The story was Dave recently revealed that he's been diagnosed with stage 3 non-Hodgkin lymphoma, a type of blood cancer that starts in the lymphatic system.
All right. That sucks.
And that just brought the ring
Cut
down.
it out.
Yeah.
Cut out the cancer. Oh, they should do that. Like a whole fucking thing with cancer. Like cut it out.
Yeah.
Like fucking fundraiser or something.
Like
I
a
don't
charity
know.
or something.
Yeah, get a whole thing going. Like the Dave Coulier cut out cancer, cut it out cancer, something cool like
Supposed
that.
to buy his little woodchuck or whatever the fuck he had.
Yeah.
Chipmunk.
I never had a problem with Dave Coulier. But there's that other guy that is dead that I had issues with. So David Coulier makes it because he deserves it. He always made me laugh as a kid.
Yeah. In other news, some surprising news. Kevin Smith recently announced that he's doing Dogma Part 2.
Oh.
It is currently in development. I don't know how. Frankly, I don't know why, but he said he has a good story in mind, and Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are both scheduled to return.
I want to see that the 4:30 movie. That looks good.
What? I don't know.
In a returning segment that we all despise, remakes and reboots that nobody asked for. Next on the list, surprisingly, is Idle Hands.
Oh, brother.
Finn Wolfhard is scheduled to star for the kid from Stranger Things and Ghostbusters.
Oh God, stop it. Idle Hands is a fun movie. It doesn't need a fucking remake. People, we want more people to get into it these days. Then go fucking buy it or rent it or find it on streaming somewhere. For fuck's sakes, man. It's not going to be nearly as good. It's not going to be nearly as funny. And it's going to be fucking chocked full of all kinds of, I won't use the word, but it sounds like oak. And it's just going to be fucking, it's going to be stupid. I already know. It's not going to be nearly as raunchy. It's not going to be nearly as anything. It's going to be politically correct. Eat my fucking dick hole. I'm fucking so tired of that shit.
Not politically correct here.
Fuck that shit.
Idle hands are the devil's playground.
That's why I'm always working on the Ford.
Fords.
They don't know who LaForge is.
I love Idle Hands.
I do too.
Such a good movie.
Said they're going to ruin it.
Leave it alone.
And I guess that concludes the news because I don't really have anything else here that'll trigger Chuck. So I guess we'll just move on.
What an asshole.
Do you purposely seek out these news stories?
I don't. I really don't. I really don't. It just works out that way because Hollywood.
Lucky all of you.
Yeah, I guess just get lucky. Anyway, again, tonight's movie, one of my favorites. I've always loved this movie, but it's a film that, a lot of people haven't seen. A lot of people haven't heard of, or or may have forgotten about. If you've never seen this, highly recommend. Check this shit out. This is actually considered John Carpenter's last great movie.
Yeah. Yep.
I think it was the third in the unofficial Apocalypse trilogy with The Thing, Prince of Darkness, and In the Mouth of Madness. Directed by John Carpenter, but written by Michael DeLuca, who has a little connection to Uncle Freddy that we did last week with The Nightmare on Elm Street. As Michael DeLuca's first job was in TV, he wrote for the Nightmare on Elm Street TV series, Freddy's Nightmare, and he did also write Freddy's Dead. So there's that.
Ooh. Well, that's not.
Got to take the good with the bad.
That's not a mod pod. And we all fuck up sometimes,
Yeah, they can't all be diamonds.
No.
And Michael DeLuca is a longtime employee of New Line Cinema. This film, of course, released by New Line Cinema in the U.S. here in 1995. Although it was released in other places in late 94, but it came out here in the U.S. in February, early 95. And starring Sam Neill, the great Sam Neill. And like this movie, in my opinion, Sam Neill is a bit underrated as an actor. I don't, for some reason, I don't feel like the man gets his flowers. And this was in the 90s when, Sam Neill was putting out banger after banger. This was off the heels of Jurassic Park.
Mm-hmm.
He did Hunt for Red October before this. He did Event Horizon after this. He did a lot. And one of my favorites, another underrated movie, by the way, Memoirs of Invisible Man, which starring Chevy Chase, which also
Chevy Chase, yeah.
Dead Calm was another one that he was that never gets made. Him and Billy Zane and Nicole Kidman.
I believe
Nicole. Go on.
I was just going to say that this Invisible Man was the first time he worked with Carpenter.
Yeah, and that led to him getting the part, and Carpenter sent him the script for this film. That's what led to him starring in the role. Another flawless performance. I think he's a great actor. Cool shit in this movie. Suave, cool. And our film actually starts at the end.
The old flip flop.
Yeah.
You haven't read it yet.
Yeah. We start in the insane asylum with another great actor that shows up for a second, John Glover. Sorry about the balls. It was a lucky shot. That's a lucky shot.
Man's balls out there.
And I can't think of the other actor's name. I'm sorry. The one the doctor, he was in Ninja Turtles 2.
He was also in Hellman.
He's been in a bunch of shit.
David Warner.
David Warner. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
You think I remember that name?
He was in Omen. He was in Tron, Star Trek. Dude, if you look at his IMDb, he's been in over like 200 films. So you've seen David Warner in something for sure.
But when we all think of who he is, we immediately go with Secret of the Ooze. I'm just saying.
I'm sorry. I can't help it.
It's like whenever I see John Glover, I just think Lionel Luthor.
Mm.
I think Clamp from Gremlins 2.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty common.
And like every other John Carpenter movie, it did not do well at the box office.
No.
It's the Carpenter curse. I don't know. They just never do well at the box office. They always find their audience later on home video with every Carpenter movie. damnedest thing.
And become classic hits.
You know, that always happens with a couple or even half of your films, but it's every John Carpenter movie.
What do you think it is? Do you think it's the marketing?
I think it's the marketing, 100%. I don't think the studios know how to sell the movie.
Because I was trying to kind of analyze this when I was thinking earlier, because I was like, man, you know, this is such a great film and it just didn't do well. And I'm trying to figure out why. And there's like a couple things that came to my mind, but I don't know if that's really the precursor to it or not. The thing, we mentioned Sam Neill hot off the Jurassic Park. It might have been like, I have no problem with Sam Neill in this film, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if it was the right film at the right time for him, you know, because it's like, you know, we talked about this before where DiCaprio was supposed to be Patrick Bateman and he just came off of Titanic. And they said to him, I don't know if you should be doing this film because you have a certain fan base now from Titanic where they're not, you know, necessarily looking for you to be a serial killer guy. So, you know, it could have been the same thing with Sam Neill where, okay, you just came off Jurassic Park, family-friendly film, and now you're going into something way different into John Carpenter's world. So it just might not have translated as well. Maybe if you did different timing, maybe if you did a different person, which, like I said, I don't mind Sam Neill, but if you're looking for a bigger box office, maybe you could have gone a different route. I don't know. What do you think?
Possible too.
No, I agree with that. I was kind of thinking the same thing. I mean, because when you do a movie like Jurassic Park and one that does so well, when Jurassic Park did pretty fucking well, and it's a lot of kids that go see it and shit, like they expect him to be in these family-friendly movies, and they're going to push that as long as they can. And Sam Neill just is not the type to, you know, keep himself, you know, stationary or whatever.
Yeah. Because as soon as you see, as soon as you see a trailer back in 94, 95 for In the Mouth of Madness, you're like, oh, hey, it's the Jurassic Park guy. And
I did that actually when the trailer came on. I said Dr. Grant as soon as the trailer
it's Dr. Grant.
Mm-hmm.
They do move in herds. But I guarantee there was like a lot of younger children that are like, oh, it's the guy from Jurassic Park. And the parents are like, no, you're not going to see In the Mouth of Madness. Sorry, little Jimmy.
It is not Jurassic Park.
And the other thing I was going to mention that I would have changed. I don't think it had an impact on necessarily the film or anything like that. Down over there in the corner, the artwork for the film doesn't really tell you much. You know, it's. I think if they would have used the book cover for In the Mouth of Madness in the film, where you have Trent running and the creatures behind him, if they would have just took that artwork and took out and just made it John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness and used that as the artwork, I think it would have been a little bit more interesting to people. Because if you see this poster down here and you really don't know much, you're just like, this doesn't really tell me anything. It's kind of weird. You know, I don't even know what I'm looking at, you know, because it's blurry and everything like that. So it doesn't kind of pop the eyes as much as the Sutter Kane artwork, which I was like, oh, this is great stuff. They should have just used that straight up as the promotional stuff for the actual film. So
I remember seeing that fucking poster, like when you used to go into like video stores and stuff that had those little magazines when you walk in that would like tell you the movies that were coming out, and they'd have like the little posters, or like, you know, I used to use them as posters. They're about like, you know, a sheet of paper that has like, you know, the movie poster and stuff on it. And that one was in so many for a long time when I'd go in, and there was a big poster of In the Mouth of Madness. I can't remember if it was in a movie warehouse or something like that. But I always thought it was cool, and I didn't see it until a few years after it came out, like on video and everything. And I don't know, I was always kind of intrigued by it, but you know, I see what you're saying though, because the cover of the books and the movie look really cool. But that also, but I could also see, you know, because it would also be kind of like a Goosebumps thing too. You know, Goosebumps always, you know, put out the videos and they'd have them just like the covers or close to the covers of the books or whatever.
Yeah, I had seen, and like I said, Sam Neill's great in it. I know that they considered other people. They considered Tom Berenger, James Woods, even Michael Keaton.
Oh, really?
Gabriel Byrne and Ray Liotta were some of the names I saw. So it could have been interesting with some of those people. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know Carpenter said that Sam Neill and Kurt Russell are his favorite people to work with.
Mm-hmm.
So I figure there was more of a connection between them two, and that's why he just went ahead and jumped on just using him.
Well, Neil looks like the kind of guy that he's playing in the movie. Like he just kind of
an assurance scammer, salesman.
Yeah. Which, in case people don't know anything about this movie, do we have a plot or anything we can read off? I got the DVD, but it's in the other room. Yeah, synopsis.
Likely. See how long this is. All right.
Shouldn't be too long.
In the Mouth of Madness it says 1994, but whatever. American supernatural horror film, directed and scored. We'll talk about that too here in a second. By John Carpenter and written by Michael DeLuca. It stars Sam Neill, Julie Carmen, Jürgen Prochnow. I'm sure I butchered that name.
Jürgen Prochnow.
Jürgen, you're the Jürgen Shore.
David Warner, as we mentioned, and Charlton Heston that we were going to get to as well.
Yeah,
Charlton. Bang, bang.
Neil stars as John Trent, an insurance investigator who visits a small town while looking into the disappearance of a successful author of horror novels, and begins to question his sanity as the lines between reality and fiction seem to blur. Informally, the film is the third installment in what Carpenter refers to as his Apocalypse trilogy, preceded by The Thing and The Prince of Darkness. In the Mouth of Madness pays tribute to the works of author H.P. Lovecraft and its exploration of insanity. And its title is derived from the Lovecraft novel At the Mountains
of Madness.
Yes. Distributed by New Line Cinema, In the Mouth of Madness received mixed reviews upon release.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Those bad reviews.
Yeah, I don't know who gave them.
I think the consensus with the reviews was the directing's great, the practical effects are great, but it's like there was one review I saw that likened to buying a fast car but driving it slow.
Kind of. I don't think there's anything slow about this movie at all.
I like that.
It's a fun movie. People, it's proof that people don't like fun anymore. Like, I mean, the fact that I would almost say, going back to the John Carpenter thing about why his movies don't do good in the box office and all that. I would say that it has something to do with the fact that maybe all his movies are ahead of the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
no one's really. You know, I think a lot of his movies would do great if they came out now. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie's fun as fuck. I mean, I kind of fell in love with it the first time I watched it. I mean, I'm kind of any movie that has to do with a writer, you know, I'm pretty much like, oh, I got to see this, and 1408 and all that shit too. And yeah, I think this is probably one of my favorite Carpenter movies.
Oh, see, yeah, it did come out in February '95 here in the States, and that's a lousy month to release a movie at all. But it's a really lousy month to release a horror movie. Most times horror movies don't do well at the first part of the year. It happens sometimes, but
you got February, Valentine's Day. You know, you're not taking the girlfriend, the wife out to see In the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah,
sure you are.
So it's probably
right, but the typical audience member.
And you're not typical, Nasty.
Atypical.
You're atypical.
We're not going to have a second
these
days.
days.
See this fucking movie.
I don't know. These days, it's pretty normal.
Yeah, I remember they timed Big Trouble in Little China horribly because they released that like a week or two before Aliens came out. Same studio, by the way. Why the fuck didn't you just push it back? I don't know. Right. But yeah, I think it's all. I think does Carpenter and the studios really not get along? I don't know.
It's true. No, they really don't. He's been
Seems
very
like they're doing it on purpose, right?
Yeah. He's talked about how John Carpenter. I've watched a few interviews from him. And he does not shy away about how he feels about the production companies where he's worked with and all that. He's like, yeah, most of them can't stand me. So,
So maybe it's actually as simple as that. I don't know. But
he's a rebel. John Carpenter's a fucking rebel. You know what that guy said he just wants to do now? He just wants to fucking play video games. That's all he wants to do. He just wants to like chill out and play video games.
I know He was doing music there for a while.
Oh yeah, he still does that. Him and his sons just put out another album like a year or two ago.
Because they would tour around. They would tour around doing a bunch of music from his different films and everything. Like even I think the music from the beginning of this film was one of the ones they played live. So that's pretty cool.
That is pretty sweet.
Yeah, one of my favorite next to Big Trouble in Little China. This tune and
if I could see him play that and this live, that'd be great.
I saw that Carpenter wanted Enter Sandman to be the song, and if you listen and you can kind of hear it a little bit. You can hear the similarities a little bit. If
I'll have to go back and listen to it.
But I like this version better.
I think I do too. I love Enter Sandman, but I don't think it would have fit as well.
I don't think it would have, because I picture, when the New Line Cinema logo is coming in, you hear it, it's like, I don't know if that would have worked.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But maybe I'm just used to this version. I don't know.
I think also if they would have used that, it probably. I like Enter Sandman. I like Metallica and shit like that. But like, I would want to have a song that is like lesser known. Like maybe like throw people off a little bit. But I'm with you, although I'm glad they went the route they did. Mm-hmm. It makes it more genuine, especially for a Carpenter film.
And it gets you pumped.
And it would have bumped the budget up huge too.
Oh yeah, that would have been half the budget.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that song gets you pumped when the movie first opens. You see the book getting printed off, and you're like, see what I mean, man? I can't help it.
This fucking guy.
Oh, man, I think I sugar kicking in. Fuck.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, this is Carpenter's love letter to Lovecraft. I always felt like if you took H.P. Lovecraft and Stephen King, put them in a blender, this is what would come out.
Ah, nice.
Oh yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They always said this was Carpenter's Cthulhu movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was one thing that kind of motivated me to want to watch it back in the day. Was when I was getting into like H.P. Lovecraft and shit, and because it sounds so close to Mountains of Madness. That anybody that knows Lovecraft already goes, that sounds Lovecraftian, and so it already kind of like brings the appeal to want to check it out. I lost my train of thought.
Well, it's really something to see how much H.P. Lovecraft's work has, affected artists of our modern time, not just John Carpenter, but other ones. We've talked about on the Fulci episode. Fulci was a big Lovecraft guy. He did the Gates of Hell trilogy. The one what was it? City of the Living Dead, where he has Dunwick. Hobbs End Horror is actually based on the Dunwick horror by Lovecraft. So there's all kinds of Dunwick in my place. Where I'm from, we say Dunwick.
Okay, makes sense. Well, where I come from, we say everything wrong. So
Chowder.
I take it back.
But yeah, the parallels. It's so interesting to me because this is one of these films where it makes me think, and I love that kind of stuff, where there's all kinds of different parallels between not only this, but the Lovecraft work, Stephen King's work. There's so many different. It's like a hodgepodge of everything, and you get that vibe where, oh man, like everything feels familiar, but it's new at the same time whenever you first watch this film. And I think that's one of the appeals to it.
I agree, actually, because when you watch it, if you are somebody that reads Lovecraft or Stephen King, like watching this, you do kind of feel like you already know these stories, even though they're different. You can definitely pick up on the influence that certain like Lovecraft stuff and all that had on it. Especially when they well, whatever. I don't know what we're doing. Are we just talking about it? Or are we going like through the shit? I never know what we're doing half the time, but like
we're dive in. Go ahead. We're spitballing. Whoa.
Yeah,
easy.
But I don't know. I think it's a fun movie that It definitely does. Like, I mean, if you're a fan of like Stephen King stuff or Lovecraft, like it does have that familiarity to it because it does kind of flow like a book by one of them or a film based off of some of their stuff.
I think this is. I know it's DeLuca, but I feel like it's a Stephen King work. If you go back and look at Crouch End, the short story from like 1980, it's very similar. Where this couple goes to this town and they get stuck in this town, and it was written then, and I think he used it later on in a short story in like the Nightmares and Dreamscapes, and I think they even did that on the TV show Crouch End. So the similarities there are very strong. I would almost say that they just had, let's take this short story from Stephen King and then throw in a bunch of fucking Lovecraft shit and kind of see what happens. So right. I think it's Stephen King. Maybe I'm just saying DeLuca fucking ripped Stephen King off. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it
feels that way.
He was in his 20s when he wrote it.
Who?
Yeah, he was young.
DeLuca, yeah.
In the New England town, Hobbs End looks just like Maine.
Yeah,
that
Castle
quiet
Rock.
New England town.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, Carpenter's worked with done King stuff before too. So I mean,
Christine.
Yeah.
So they're friends. It's not like I'm stealing your shit or whatever. But I think there's it feels like Stephen King. Even the name Sutter Kane sounds like Stephen King.
Stephen King.
You get the Stephen King reference in the film whenever she's like, oh, he outsells them all.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could definitely tell, like Hobbs End, Castle Rock, Lovecraft's Arkham, all of them are just everything feels very similar. So, I wouldn't say it's a ripoff, more of an inspiration. We'll go that
completely. Route. I love that because again, going with this movie not being slow, it when Sam Neill with Trent, he's trying to figure out where this Kane guy is and try to figure out like if it's all a big ruse or whatever the fuck. And so like he starts reading his books and immediately gets sucked in. And I love that whole shit too, because it's just like it's like he goes and like he's reading the books and he passes out and he has this weird fucking nightmare or whatever. And then like when he's sitting, one thing I remember from the trailer before I actually saw the movie was the guy, they're sitting at the coffee shop and then the guy just comes walking up through the window with a fucking axe or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love the insanity that this
Do you read
books,
Sutter Kane?
Right. Yeah. That these books kind of cause, because I mean, going back to Stephen King, when Stephen King was at his prime and he, people would line up. I mean, people still would, but like back in the day when his books came out, there were fucking millions of people just waiting to get in and losing their fucking minds for him and shit. I don't know. I think it's kind of cool the idea of a guy writing some books that can almost make you go mad with obsession,
Yep.
And then
bonkers.
Sort of the
Bonkers.
Sort of the J.K. Rowling in her Harry Potter books, you'd see on the news all the time, people waiting in line, for the release of the book.
Well, there's shit for King too.
What's great is whenever you see him in the store buying all the books and they're all $5.95.
It's kind of a weird, it's a cool concept.
Fucking amazing. Today's books are like fucking like $30.
Right.
And shout out to Conrad Bergschneider for playing the Axe Maniac.
Oh, Conrad.
I don't think he's done really anything else. He's been in other films like bit parts, but I think this was his peak performance, which I'd be fine with that. Like that's fucking like if anybody's seen In the Mouth of Madness, that's the scene that they remember the most. I think. He crashes the window and. Do you read Sutter Kane? The voice almost even sounds ADR'd. I don't know. It sounded weird. I was like, is that his real voice? That's like, do you read Sutter Kane? I don't know. I can't even do it, but it was weird.
Might have been a voiceover.
I feel like it was, because they're trying to make things weird.
Yeah.
I mean, that was his representative. You think he could get a better agent?
That was his agent. What?
I love it when him and what's the girl's name? The woman that
Styles.
Yeah, when to go try to this place to see if it's real, and when they go to the hotel, that's probably one of my favorite things is when they start figuring out shit's fucked up. Like, they go to the hotel and there's this nice old woman there and all this shit, and then there's a painting that has this old nice little thing going on, and then they go to the room and he's like, look, like in the book it says, or she's like, but over here, and he's like, no, he's like, but it's pointing this way. Like, you're all wrong, all this shit. And then when he starts realizing some shit's fucked up or whatever, like he goes down to the room and they realize that the painting is different. It looks a little more sinister, and the old woman, I love it because I can't remember that woman's name, but she's been on a lot of shit too. But like, she's talking and she's all like, yeah, nice little old grandmother. But like, she's got her fucking husband or whatever beaten and fucking like
handcuffed,
naked
to her leg.
And handcuffed. Yeah, like,
hush.
I don't know. It's so sinister. It's so fucking sinister. What's funny though is there was a show. What was it called? It was it came on. Man, it's been about fucking 15 years now, but maybe longer, probably longer. I'm drawing a blank on the fucking name, but it was a funny show. But it was about a guy who his parents sold his soul to the devil before he was born, and so like when like his dad gets turned into a demon or some shit, and this dude, in order to protect his soul, he has to get souls for the devil, which is played by that one dude that was in Twin Peaks, Raymond something or whatever. But there's an episode of this show. I can't believe that I'm drawing a blank on this show. It was one of my favorite shows. It was a good show. But there's an episode in it where they go to this weird town and they go to a hotel, and it's exactly pretty much the same situation as in the Mouth of Madness, except the person behind the counter is actually this big giant fucking like tentacled creature thing, but like from the waist down, you don't like you don't see they're a creature until it's fucking crazy.
She turns into that later.
Yeah.
Was that Kevin Smith show, The Reaper?
Yeah, Reaper. Yeah. Was Kevin Smith? Yeah, Kevin Smith. I guess he did do something on it. Yeah, I actually have both seasons. Yeah, that's a fun show. But yeah, there's a whole episode there where it really does have.
Familiar. I was like, I've seen that.
It's so very, very reminiscent of that whole scene.
Mrs. Pickman, shout out Frances Bay, man. Happy Gilmore's grandma.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I hate that movie.
There were two. It was her and Lynn Shay that I think popped up in almost every movie back in the day. Well, Lynn Shay still does. But
yeah,
a few of them.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite parts. And Mike mentioned a line from the movie before we came on. Come on, you old bitch.
No. whatever he's like ready to leave, we're jumping ahead, but whenever he's getting ready to leave the hotel and he's like, she's not around, and he's like ringing the bell, and then he's like, come on, you old bitch, or hurry up, you old bitch. It just went from like nice to I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. Fuck all y'all. Fuck this town.
Right? That's how you gotta be though. Like, that fucking town was terrible. Like, I don't even know why she went back, because they go to the church at first, and then she's like, all these fucking rednecks got guns. We gotta get the fuck out of here.
Vigo.
And then
I was gonna say Vigo, yeah.
He's Vigo.
But like, his son Johnny's in the church, and the doors keep flying closed and open.
Cool shot.
And then they just turn right into Sutter Kane. And that's when you see Sutter Kane for the first time.
Yeah, he's not in the movie much, but he didn't need to be.
No. His presence was known.
Yeah, I saw him and I was like, it's Vigo. And I was looking. I had no idea that he was in Die Hard. He's one of the henchmen in Die Hard.
Yeah. It was when they're taking the explosives, and him and that other guy screaming at each other in German.
Yeah.
Was that him? Because I thought it was. Was that him? Because I thought it was the guy that was in the Money Pit and all that shit. Was he in there too?
Oh, you're thinking of Carl, the blonde-haired guy.
So there was two. So
Yeah.
okay. But okay.
There's multiple henchmen. He was just one of them. He wasn't a featured henchman, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm sure if I saw the scene, I'd be like, oh yeah, that guy. But you know what's kind of funny though is this movie, I guess, has a lot of people from our our childhood favorites, Jurassic Park, Ghostbusters 2. You know, like it's just kind of funny to me.
Yeah, Wilhelm von Homburg is Vigo / the townsman from Hobbs End, and he was actually a boxer that became an actor,
Mm-hmm.
and this was his very last film.
Oh,
Jake Paul's calling him out. He's dead, isn't he?
Yeah, he died.
No.
Jake Paul. I hope not. No, yeah. Wilhelm von Homburg had passed away, I believe, in 2004, somewhere in there. So, yeah.
Jake Paul has a chance. Anyway, we won't even on that.
But yeah, a lot of familiar faces. We talked about John Glover. We talked about David Warner, Bernie Casey.
yeah.
Revenge of the Nerds.
Robbie.
Yeah, plays the guy that's trying to hire Trent, to become his full-time investigator. And of course, we mentioned Charlton Heston, freaking legend. Ben-Hur, Planet of the Apes, 10 Commandments. We just talked about him on True Lies. The list goes on and on.
Dead hands.
Yeah,
I hate that motherfucker. I really do. Piece of shit. Right after fucking Columbine happened, they showed up with their fucking gun shit or whatever right in that fucking town. It's like, you motherfucker. You pieces of shit. Yeah. He's also the one that fucked up the name of Cop Killer from Body Count when he was on that video. He was like, Killer Cop. Kill. He couldn't even get the fucking name right, so fuck Charlton Heston.
Wow.
Whatever.
He's in the movie, and he doesn't have the stomach for Kane's work. But the movie comes out next month.
Right, yeah.
And Julie Carmen.
Can't read.
Julie Carmen as Styles. She hasn't really done a lot. I don't know. She did fine in the film. I might have went with somebody else here as well. I don't know. I don't know who, but
Fright Night 2, I think she was.
Yeah.
A lot of TV. I think she did a lot of TV. The normal stuff like NYPD Blue, and I'm sure she was on an episode of Law and Order. I don't know if that's true, but everybody did an episode of Law and Order.
Let's all go to court. And small cameo, the first ever film of Hayden Christensen.
Yes, he played the boy. I just found that out the other day. I didn't know that before.
Because you wouldn't recognize him, obviously.
But
it was fucked up because they like zoom in on his spokes of the cards there, and I was like, I used to use jokers on my spokes too. Because my grandparents would get pissed because all the cards would go missing.
Yeah, I think the jokers are the ones that are in Hobbs End, and I think whenever Hayden Christensen rides up as the paper boy, I think he had a Brady Anderson card from like 1990 or something like that. He said, I don't know.
That's old school.
That's old.
Old school.
So yeah, a lot of familiar faces in this flick, which is cool. Anytime I get to watch him film and see somebody like, oh, hey, that's that person, and I think it's kind of cool to see.
Oh yeah, especially going back to seeing like them younger too. Like that's fucking sweet. Even though Carpenter's looked the same since the 80s.
he really has.
Yeah.
All the damn vampires.
All the damn vampires.
And yeah, back to Sam Neill as Trent. I mean, I thought he carried the movie. I mean, this movie was all Neil. And always a skeptic, cool skeptic. You root for him right away. He just like, in one of the first scenes, he shreds the guy that filed the insurance claim while he's smoking a cigarette the whole time. Like, cool as fuck, right?
Yeah.
I forget the actor's name. He's in a lot of Carpenter movies, though. The guy that's filing the claim at the beginning.
Yeah, if you're going to run a scam, don't have your wife as your partner. And if you do, don't fuck around on her.
yeah. And it's like,
I don't-
yeah, okay.
I love watching you work.
I don't know why I'm talking with this accent because he's New Zealand.
And
Like
even
one of those
while
old radio time guys, eh?
Hey,
see?
Yeah.
And even when shit's getting weird, you know, Trent's like, "Oh man, you guys are professionals, special effects, all the."
yeah, he still is doubting it the whole time.
Well, speaking of special effects, you can't forget old KMB killing another movie, as they
Yep.
do always.
Oh man,
Practical.
everything.
Fucking
Car-
effects
Car-
were amazing.
yeah, Carpenter was all about the practical effects, man. Gotta love it.
The fucking
Everything-
prosthetics, the fucking monster suits. Like,
Yeah.
apparently, like, jumping like pretty ahead towards the end, fucking whenever like they're showing like the monsters running down all fucking through like the tunnel chasing him. Apparently they were on like a cart, and at some point like the cart ran over Nicotero's foot, and he had to go to the hospital.
Oh yeah.
He broke his foot. I was like,
Damn.
that sucks.
Ouch.
Man, K&B Studios, man, they've done so much stuff. They're the top group, man. Those guys kill it every time.
They're the go-tos.
This is one of those movies that when I watch it, I always remember like watching it on VHS. You know what I mean? Like there's certain movies that you remember, like, I don't know. It's like, I like having like a nice clear picture on my flat screen and shit. But sometimes you kind of want that graininess. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense? Like the way that the movies look,
Yeah,
like
make it look
just-
gritty.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a VHS movie, as a couple of me and my friends say about certain movies. It's like that's a movie. It's like I remember renting that, and yeah, it's one of my favorites. Though, I think that like all of his stuff, it gets kind of a bad rap for whatever reason. Underrated
Just
classic.
Yeah, definitely. Backtracking a little bit, whenever he's first in the asylum, and then Glover, everybody's yelling because he's like, "I'm not insane! I'm not insane!" And then everybody else starts like, "I'm not insane." And then
I'm not if he's not.
Yeah, and then Glover just turns the music up, and it's the Carpenters. We've only just begun, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Because like we had just done 1408 not too long ago,
Right.
and I was like, "Oh man!" So it's another parallel.
Yeah.
Stephen King, you know, obviously Stephen King does 14. He doesn't write it till what, like 99, somewhere in there. So I don't know if he included We've Only Just Begun in 1408 as kind of a nod to Carpenter or not. But it's interesting because I mean, there's too many things that happen. If there's too many coincidences, I don't think it's a coincidence. But like, yeah. So it has that connection there, and then you also have, you know, Sam and Neil turn around and like, oh no, not the Carpenters, and it's like, obviously, John Carpenter is the director, which he is no relation to the Carpenters musical group.
Right. True.
Yeah,
And it's also another movie with that song that also was about a writer.
Yeah.
And then 1408 has those kind of same parallels where you have Trent, who's this skeptic. You know, he's doing insurance claims, but you know, John Cusack is a skeptic that's going around to all these haunted places. So it's interesting to kind of look at it and you know, see. You know, I always feel like, you know, there's something hidden, like especially whenever you watch this film and you Trent's kind of analyzing everything, and he's sitting there and he looks at all the book covers and he figures out that it's a map to where Hobbs End is. And I've always kind of felt that way about Stephen King stuff. I feel like there's something hidden in there, not necessarily a map, but there's something hidden that nobody has figured out yet, because Stephen King is just a master that's just kind of probably embedded in there so deep that you'd have to know like everything and then solve it. So I feel like at some point we're going to find like some crazy thing, like it'll lead you to some place and you'll have to dig up a box out of the ground, and it'll be like a Stephen King novel that has never been published. Like, I don't know. I think that would be awesome. You know, some kind of crazy stuff like that.
Out of all the crazy shit that happened in this movie, that's my biggest like thing that was kind of fucked up, was like he just wakes up and then he's like, oh, let me cut the shit out of all these books.
Yeah.
And then I'll realize they or a puzzle piece to make me look at fucking New England.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? Like
How do you figure that out? But then,
like all the other back to crazy stuff I have no problems with, but that.
Well, then you realize later on that's how Kane wrote it.
Right.
True.
But that's
it was in the script.
Yeah, it was, or in the book.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do a lot of jump scares in this film too. That are real good. Whenever he's dreaming, and then he wakes up, and then he's dreaming again, and then he wakes up. The cop, that crazy fucked up looking cop guy is sitting right next to him. That part is
some dude, buddy.
Yeah, I love those little jump scares because they work well. I think Carpenter said he did that for Prince of Darkness as well, where he did the dream within a dream, and he said it worked better in Prince of Darkness, but I think it did fine just in the Mouth of Madness.
I can see you.
Yeah, and I love we talked about the bookstore for a second. That kid that's in the bookstore with the glasses, that's staring at him at first. I don't know why. That always makes me giggle. I could see. He sees you. He's like, great. Tell him I said
hi. And there's a lot of funny stuff in this. I think Carpenter even said
comedy.
Whenever he sent the script to Sam Neill felt like it was a comedy, and that's how he played it. It's kind of like a psychological comedy, and you'll notice that whenever you watch him in the film, where it's like he's doing a lot of silly shit, and it's not your typical horror stuff. It comes off kind of comical.
It works somehow.
Yeah.
Another movie with a bunch of fucking creepy ass kids.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Can't forget the creepy kids. It's Mommy's Day.
You're my mommy, and it's Mommy's Day.
Ball back.
There's a lot of creepy shit in this film.
There really is. Like
that little girl. Whenever they're first driving to try to find Hobbs End, and you have Styles is driving, and then all of a sudden she sees the boy on the bike, and then all of a sudden you see the bike again, but now it's like the older version of him or whatever with a crazy look, and then finally she like hits him, and then like it's just like so weird and creepy because it's like, how many times have we been driving down the road late at night and like something like that could happen, like some crazy fucking weirdo could just come out of nowhere.
The day we saw all the blood splattered all over the road, we had no
for real
idea why.
Yeah, whenever we drove down to the Mothman, like there was a bunch of weird shit that happened where it's like we're driving down and a car's flipped over, and then we're leaving Point Pleasant, and there's the road is just smeared with blood. And we're like, oh, what the fuck? I wish I would have recorded that, man, because I was like, that would have been perfect. Like nobody's gonna believe it.
Freaky.
And then I've had experience where I've been up in New England. I went up to Vermont, Stowe, Vermont, to go skiing, and me and my ex were up there, and we had to drive down to Maine because we were staying the night in Maine. And when we were leaving, it was like a complete snowstorm. It was bad, and I was like, "Oh man, we're not going to make it down there." And the props to the people up in New England, man, they got that shit down to a science. And around here in DC, Maryland, when it snows, like even a little bit, everybody freaks the fuck out. Oh, the roads are closed down, this and that. You could have like 5 feet of snow up in New England, and they'll just like, we know how to take care of this. We deal with this shit all the time. So like we went through this freaking blizzard basically, and made it down to Maine somehow. And when we got there, I remember it specifically. We stayed at this place called the Kennebunk Inn, and I picked it because it was considered a haunted place. And when we got there, nobody was there, and it was so weird. And like we went inside and just went up. And it was an old colonial type house and everything like that. You go up to the front desk, and there were just like old keys sitting there. It's like, oh, here's the keys to your room, and there's nobody there. Taking care of the hotel, and there's nobody staying at the hotel except us. And it was just so weird. And it has this vibe where it's like, when Trent and Styles are the only one in this fucking old colonial hotel, it's like, What'd you say?
He said you walked in there and was like, "Come on, you old bitch."
Yeah. I wish I would have. No. But yeah. It's weird because I feel like I've almost lived something similar to this, and it's like that it just adds an extra element of creepy to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just my personal take.
I don't know. Like, I'm not religious by all means, but that fucking Slavic church or whatever the fuck, that shit was dope.
I think Russian Orthodox.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a real church up in Ontario. Yeah, because they filmed this around Toronto, Ontario area. So I looked it up earlier, and I was like, man, the next time I go up there, I want to make the trip to go find this place.
Yeah, it's not all open land anymore. It's not all open land anymore like it was in the movie, though. There's all these like houses and condos and stuff there now, but it's still there, though.
We were watching Sean Clark's filming locations.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, because it's so strange because you have this beautiful church and it's just out in the middle of nowhere. Mm-hmm. So bizarre. So it fits perfectly into this film.
It's like, how did you guys even find that? But man, I'm glad you did, because that's awesome.
Yeah.
You don't even think it's real. You think that's a design.
They just built that for the film. Nope.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah, like it's a real joint.
That's crazy. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. It's fucking dope ass looking church, man.
And the other effects they did use, I believe, were from ILM. Is that who did the visual effects?
Is it?
With some of that, like the part when they're in the church and he tears his face off and makes the rip. It's like, holy fuck, how did they even do that in 1994 and 1995? That fucking shit looked good.
Well, it's supposed to be more dramatic. They're supposed to actually pull him in and have all the animal or like the demons or whatever fucking jump on him, but it was just too cost effective.
Well, didn't at one point they talk about like the whole town was going to get sucked up into the book or something like that? Yeah. So they were like, oh, that's too much. We'll just do like Kane tearing himself out of a page.
It's still good.
Yeah, it's fun.
Careful, Beef Oven. Make sure you don't get sucked under.
The only other time I've seen that kind of effect used on film is in one of the Clive Barker stories for Masters of Horror. It has to do with a guy living in a apartment with a bunch of other writers and screenplay writers and shit like that. And the end of it is basically like the guy's ripping himself apart or something, and everything's just a big page. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Did I stall on that?
No.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out where I saw Jürgen Prochnow from, and then I was like, the more we watched it, all of a sudden I stopped, and I was like, I stopped. Well, no, not even that. Like I stopped, and I was like, "What is it, Grandpapa?"
Yeah, there you Beer Fest.
That shit had me fucking dying. I was like, "Now I gotta watch Beer Fest."
He was also in House of the Dead.
Wow.
Don't have to watch that one. I watch Beer Fest, but
it was ILM, by the way. I did confirm that.
Good. Yeah. I don't know the effect whenever Styles. Oh man, when he's trying to get her to leave town and they drive out and she comes around the car and she's doing the kind of spider walk. With that was
kind of creepy
shit right there. And what they said they used a contortionist, and then they had her put on like a mask essentially of her face of what's her face, Julie Carmen's face. So and it looks good, and
the sound too. The sounds of the that's what like sets it off for me is the sound.
I would have punted that bitch in the face.
Yeah, he's still trying to save her at this point. I'm like, okay, I understand you were skeptical, but once you see this old lady in the hotel with fucking tentacles, I think it's game over, brother.
Shit, man.
This is real. This is reality.
Or whenever you're driving, then you end up back in town out of nowhere.
This ain't reality TV.
It's like, what the fuck just happened?
Or like, when he's trying to say like, oh, it's just a big publicity stunt. Like, at what length are they going to go to for publicity? Like,
Right?
The cops shot his agent dead in front of you. Like, all right,
Yeah.
they're very dedicated to their promotion.
They were just officers that were hired and squibbed.
So
You
yeah,
said the guy that
They,
wrote.
that's the promote. That's what they should have done for this film. They should have had like somebody go into, just shoot somebody, or stay. I don't know. You'd probably get some kind of in trouble like with the law. I mean, I don't know.
They could have at least played off the books for some kind of publicity shit.
Yeah.
And you get a free Sutter Kane lunchbox.
Yeah.
Yep.
They should have got Stephen King to write a book as Sutter Kane, and then they could have put it out as that or some shit.
I'm sure they would have did a lot more stuff had the movie done better.
Yeah. Now you all said the guy that wrote Freddy's Dead wrote this too.
Michael DeLuca.
Yeah. Yeah. There was also the whole fucking thing about driving around in circles, thinking you're leaving a place where you're not in that too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He must really like doing that.
It's in all his movies.
I don't know if he wrote
kind of how that From TV show is.
I don't know if he did the final draft, but somebody said that he did a screenplay for Lawnmower Man as well.
Yeah.
Another Stephen King. Weird. Definitely not a coincidence.
Not one of my favorites, that's for sure.
No.
Shout out Jeff Fahey.
No. Yeah. Yeah. But fuck that movie. It's like fuck Running Man.
No, not fuck Running Man. Don't listen.
Yeah.
Can we cut his mic?
And I don't know why, but every time I see this part, it cracks me up. It's when Trent's trying to leave, or he's about to try to leave, and that one with the axe comes up to him and goes, "Fuck you!" And then runs away.
Like, all right. Like, if somebody's running up to me with an axe and the most they do is fuck you and take off. Like, okay, I'm good.
I don't really want him to fuck me either. I think I might just run.
Fuck me. And it's so
I'm
like,
leaving now.
it's the perfect reaction because like whenever he's driving and he keeps coming back to that street and all those people are standing there, like after a couple times, he's sitting there and he's like, you know what, fuck this, and he just floors it. He's like, I'm just driving these people. If they want to stage this whole thing and fuck with me, I'm gonna run these fuckers over.
Then he sees what's her face and fucking freaks out and wrecks the car.
Yeah, even though she was just like the spider queen,
Right.
It's like,
Then
no, hit her, please.
Yeah.
Hit
By that point, you saw her fucking spidered out, and then you saw her on the back of the fucking bicycle with fucking the old man kid.
Or besides the fact, whenever she comes out of the bathroom, she literally knocks him through the the whole door explodes.
Yeah.
Like,
and then we punch each other in the face, and that part cracks me up too.
Yeah,
every time
he's just like beating the shit out of her in the car. It's like, no, I'm trying to save you. It's okay.
I was cracking up whenever they're first on their way. And then she's asleep in the chair and he fucking reaches in the glove box. You're like, who the fuck has a honky horn thing in your fucking glove box? Like, I'm going to keep one in mine now just for fucking fun.
Yeah, I'm going to fall asleep. He's going to whip out a freaking squeaky toy.
It's like, why do you have that? Why do you have that? And what else do you have in there?
Why couldn't you have just shaken me?
I'm sorry.
And that, Chuck, is why he beat me with potato chips earlier.
Chips everywhere.
Okay.
Oh.
You boys.
Had to be there.
Oh, he was.
Oh, and also another one of my favorite parts is when they're on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
And Sutter Kane goes, "Did you know my favorite color was blue?" Before that, he says, like, "I'm God now, you see. Did you know, look around when you wake up. Did you know my favorite color is blue?" And then we get the iconic Sam Neill scream. That's a clip.
Yeah, right.
105.
Perfect.
But yeah,
Then like everything's blue.
that is a good scene though.
I just blew myself.
And
And
when oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say if you look every time there's a close up of somebody's eyes, their eyes are blue. Any of the characters from Hobbs End or anything that he kind of Trent encounters along the way.
There were some weird looking eyeballs. Like they were like bright blue, but like the pupils looked like they were like squares.
That's another KNB effect. They had the
Gotta love them.
They had the contacts made up for those guys. So
I had it. I lost it.
So close.
Found it.
Oh, the old woman when she in her final form, when she's chopping her husband into coleslaw, as Trent says. I mean, the whole movie is almost a fever dream, isn't it?
It is, and it's another one of those where we talked about last night with Nightmare on Elm Street, where if you're going to use a dream sequence in a film, it's gotta be right, or else it's shit. And this is another one where you use dream sequences and you kind of mess with the audience's head to where, they don't know what's going on. And I think it works well because, there's never a point where I'm watching it and there's a dream sequence and I'm like, what the fuck was that about? Like this is dumb. Like it's fine. The one earlier, like I said, with the cop there leads to a jump scare. There's all kinds of different things that kind of lead into something else, and I'm fine with that. Like I said, if you do it right, it works.
Sure.
And same with the ending. I love the ending of this film. I thought it worked. It was perfect. But it's kind of mixed feelings about the ending.
Like when he goes back to the office to talk to.
When he goes in the theater.
Oh, the theater part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was like,
it's interesting.
I was just gonna say the ending part, like when he's when he goes back and Heston's trying to tell him that none of it's real and he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's like, "You went alone." Like I don't know. I always did that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that whole the realization of everything is fucked.
You gave me the novel months ago.
And that again is another part in Freddy's Dead when she goes back to the center, the youth center or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
How Freddy erased all the kids. You're right, Chuck. God damn, I never put all that together before.
Yeah. Well, this was before Freddy's Dead, right, or after?
Yeah.
Yeah. Before.
No,
Before?
Freddy's Dead was first.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I think he wrote this before Freddy's Dead. I think he wrote this back in the 80s, but Freddy's Dead was released before this was.
It's just like he always wanted to have these little tropes in a movie, and now he's done it twice, maybe more. I don't know. I don't know what other movies he's made. Bro.
Success.
Great success. I don't know.
Fulci made sure to pierce eyes, so in every movie that he made, just about. So you got a trope. I mean, some of these kind of tropes are kind of weird tropes to have in your movies, but yeah, whatever makes you happy.
I always like whenever they go back to the insane asylum or whatever, and he's sitting in there and he's like, "It's getting worse out there," and he's like, "Do you want to go out there?" And he's like, "No, it's safer in here." He's like, "I'm glad I'm stuck in here."
Well, we got the movie where he starts in the asylum, but at what point does he read it? Because once you see him later on, he's already read In the Mouth of Madness, right? Or has he not read it?
Huh?
I don't think he read it.
He never finished it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why he was able to leave the dream world or whatever the fuck wherever they were at.
But he goes back. He is at the hotel. He's at the hotel. He just leaves. He leaves the novel in the middle of the road. Then goes to the hotel. And then it gets delivered back to him. Then he burns it.
Sure.
And then when he meets with Heston, he's already turned it in. So immediately after that, he leaves, and that's when he goes to the bookstore and takes the axe and kills the kid. So then, are we to assume right after that he's arrested and taken to an insane asylum, which we see in the beginning?
That's how I took it. Yeah, that's how I took it.
Yeah.
And then when we see him at the beginning of the film, he says, "You haven't read it yet." or is that supposed to be like some kind of like Trent's reading it to us, like a fourth wall type thing?
Possibly.
Mm-hmm. Could be.
So it's like he's saying like it's not that Trent hasn't personally read it; he hasn't read it to us yet. So it's like, oh, we can't start here. Trent's got to read it to us, and then that's where we end up. So it's very complex. It's interesting to me. You know, the ending I'm okay with. It's not anything that's like remarkable or anything. But how do you end a film like this? You know?
Right.
I think it's kind of perfect, actually. I mean, we already knew the movie was coming.
Laughing hysterically.
Because I mean, the essential idea is that, you know, these creatures from another dimension or whatever are basically controlling Kane in order to facilitate their taking over the world or whatever, and the end times coming and everything like that. So I mean, all right, it's the end time. Like, you get out of the asylum and you walk around and everybody's dead or missing or whatever. It's like, fuck it. Well, I'm just gonna go get some popcorn and watch this movie.
I mean, yeah. What else do you do?
It's like, that's it.
Going back to the motel scene, though, that shit cracked me up whenever he's like, who brought this? He's like, I don't know. It wasn't working last night. And he's like, who? And the guy comes walking out the back. He's like, I was, and I ain't see shit. Like, that shit had me dying. And then whenever the kid comes out with the fucking bloody eyes from the bookstore, and he's like, do you read Sutter Kane? He's like, yeah. He's like, so this shouldn't be a surprise. He just fucking like, wow.
Yeah.
You should have seen this coming, man, asshole.
So it's interesting. Is anything real in this film?
That's the ultimate question.
Oh, and I almost forgot. One of my favorite scenes is whenever him and Trent and Styles are driving, and they have this conversation. And I love this. I've always loved this line, like ever since the first time I saw this film, where she's talking about, if sane and insane switch places, you find yourself in a padded room wondering what happened to the world. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, like that is such a good quote, and a good, like, you know, even nowadays, even more so nowadays, you know, 30 years later, where it's starting to feel like we're the sane ones and the rest of the world's insane. You know what I mean?
I always feel
like even more so now, because like nothing makes sense.
Backwards.
Yeah, she even says, she's like, you know, it's got to be like sad or whatever that you're the last one and everything that you knew doesn't exist anymore. And it's like a parallel to where, you know, as you're getting older, everything changes and the world just becomes something totally different. And it's like, you know, especially nowadays for me, it's like fucking everything doesn't make sense. You know, I don't know what it is. Like, everything's fucked up. You know, people are weird. You know, nobody knows their gender. Nobody knows fucking what they're doing today or tomorrow. Like everything we knew, or like when we were growing up, everything that we thought we knew is different. So it's like, you know, now it's like, man, you know, am I the crazy one? Are they the crazy ones? You know, it's that dichotomy of sane and insane. And like I said, I've always loved that line. If a sane and insane switches places, you find yourself in a padded room, wondering what happened to the world. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, especially now.
I mean, he kind of did.
Yeah.
Because I'm happy you're happy.
Okay.
Yeah, man, like it's even all the stuff we learned in school growing up is like, now they're like, that was all bullshit.
Right.
Yeah. It's like as society progresses, everything you knew is different.
Yeah, different. Obsolete.
Yeah.
Truth. Everyone else is nuts. I'm good, man. I'm good.
And I think that's what kind of makes this film stand the test of time, because like you said, Chuck, it's ahead of its time, where it's describing these things that, you know, I don't know if it was something that DeLuca or Carpenter kind of wanted to convey, where like as you're growing older, You know, you always have the films that are the coming of age films as you're a kid, you know, and you're transitioning into a man or a woman or whatever. And like, this is almost like you're transitioning into an older person where it's like, you know, especially, you know, it's not just our generation, all the other generations that like grew up and they're like, oh, you know, everything I knew, it's like different about the world, you know, grown up, you know,
back in my day,
for real. And that's, we're at that spot now. Yeah, it's crazy, but it's interesting. Oh man, fuck, it's such a good film, man.
Definitely.
And it's like all Carpenter's film; they were just ahead of their time.
Well, they live. I mean, John Carpenter is kind of like The Simpsons in a lot of ways. He just keeps predicting shit.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's a matter of time before we have glasses to where we're actually finding out who the real aliens are. But you know, whatever, they're everywhere.
Another great one. We got to do They Live one night. I love that movie too.
You look normal. Her, she's ugly as fuck.
And you're correct. That is a great movie.
Man, yes, I feel like there's stuff we're forgetting. I don't know though.
I know there is. I'll think about it as soon as we chat. Is there anything we're forgetting? Well, is there anything about this film you guys would change?
Like I said, the poster and Julie Carmen. You know, no disrespect to her, but I just kind of feel like I wanted somebody else in there. Maybe it's just me now after the fact. You know, seeing all the familiar faces, and then it's like her, and I'm just like, you know, I would have rather had some kind of other familiar face. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. She's fine.
Maybe if you had somebody different, you would have cared more about that character. You know what I mean? Because you don't really. I mean. She's just
even Heston doesn't know who the fuck she is by the end of it.
Apparently, she didn't even exist.
He's like, who is this stylist person? The person you say I sent with you, I sent you alone.
But
I got to kiss you. That's what he wrote.
I personally think that this movie is damn near perfect. I think it flows really well. It's not slow. You're pretty. Like once you're into it, you're into it. And that's, I think it's just a really good fucking movie that I've watched multiple times. And it's a lot of times it's a go-to. If I'm like, I want to watch a Carpenter movie, and usually In the Mouth of Madness is the first one I go to. So, well, that or Prince of Darkness.
Yeah, it's just a fun little flick. Like you beginning to end, you can be entertained the entire time. I'm into it right away. No matter how many times I've seen it, which is a lot.
Right.
Burley Sullivan says they love this one because they're from New Hampshire and Hobbs End is a fictional town. Yes.
Yeah, you get that vibe. You know, anytime, like, you know, with this film, or like if you're reading anything Stephen King, you get that vibe because, you know, from the New England vibe, chowder. And especially if you're from that area, you know, you definitely, you know, it feels like home.
And that bridge is still in the town where they filmed it, the Red Bridge. It was built in 1881.
Famous tourist attraction.
Yeah, now people go check it out all the time.
I think Gigi came from New Hampshire. I think. Gigi Allen.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Up that way somewhere. Especially if you ever heard him or his brother talk. You can definitely tell they're from up that area.
But yeah, I would probably say it's last of John Carpenter's great films. You know, I mean, I don't know, Escape from L.A. You got Vampires after. You got Ghosts of Mars.
I like Vampires.
I like them, but I think I like this film more.
Body Bags is good.
Body Bags is a fun one, but I think that I would have to say I like this one more than that too. Vampires. There's a lot that could have been changed with that one, but I still thought that was a fun one. But yeah. I just when it comes to his really, really good ones, this is probably, I'd say because it's like I said, this is damn near a perfect movie to me. It's a fun experience.
Yeah, definitely.
That's good.
one of the flicks that is the most underrated. You know,
Yeah.
maybe it's just it's too psychological, it's too sophisticated for a general audience. I don't know. You know, you have that niche audience that like wants to dive into it and fucking love it. So you know, I'm fine with it. You know, our little gem that we can enjoy. Fuck the rest.
Yeah.
That's all.
Truth.
Like I wouldn't mind seeing what would happen if they used someone else other than Sam Neill to see if maybe they got more box office thunder, but
I don't care. No, I think
it holds up.
Keaton would have been interesting.
Well, another weird
Just
one.
time.
Another weird timing thing though, you know, it's just these got two, you know, Keaton and Neil just coming off these big blockbuster films where it's like, I don't know, this is just a different vibe. I don't know. It would have been interesting to see Sam Neill do this before Jurassic Park, maybe. Or what if, speaking of Jurassic Park, what if you had Jeff Goldblum as Trent?
Ooh, I don't know. That's a lot of Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, there's a lot of Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, Keaton would have been interesting. I wonder what he would have did with it.
You all are just really going out here with all these things out here, just trying to prove. Yeah, I don't know if I can deal with that for a fucking hour and a half.
I mean, if that's what you saw, Styles, I'd be a little unnerved too. You know, see. That's what I'm saying.
Styles, let me see your hand. I'm going to put this drop of water on your hand.
If it rolls back, we're fucked.
If it rolls back, this is reality. If not, we're in Kane's book.
God, that's weird. That would be weird.
Or like, you know, especially if they would have used like Ray Liotta, you know, or just have Ray Liotta as Henry Hill in the Mouth of Madness.
And what the fuck? I could have swore that fucking picture over there fucking moved.
You did too much coke.
Instead of having Trent and Styles there, you have Ray Liotta and Joe Pesci. What you want from me?
Is something funny? Is something funny over here? You think I'm a funny guy?
Yeah. Look at the picture. The dog's looking one way, the dog's looking another. What do you want from me? This old guy with the gray hair. He's saying, "What do you want from me?"
You believe this guy?
He starts trying to drive out of the town, and he keeps going back to that mob of people. He just gets out of the car and just starts shooting them. Oh, that would
you fucks. Fucking great.
He's like, how did you know this was here? I didn't. I read about it, and so did you, motherfucker. Oh, I can picture it.
Yeah.
Hollywood.
That's funny.
Make that happen. Well, you can.
Well,
unfortunately.
You can't really. Yeah.
R.I.P. Man, we keep coming back to death.
Usually.
It's out there.
If it doesn't scare you to death, you're already dead.
Wrote a song about it when he hit. Here you go.
Down. In living color.
We've only just begun.
For our younger viewers.
Yeah.
Oh man, I know. I'm sitting here trying to think. I know there's stuff I'm forgetting, but final thoughts for In the Mouth of Madness. Maybe this will jog our memories.
Fucking awesome. Love it, man.
Love it. One of my favorites. I think it's a fun one, and I think that people should definitely give it a shot because again, it's very underrated, and there's a lot of people don't even realize this movie exists. I have realized, and that's really sad because it's a fun one. It's a good one,
and it's coming up on its 30th anniversary.
Yeah, if you've never seen this, as of right now, it was free on YouTube, so I'm sure it's on other streaming platforms as well. You could check it out if you've never seen it. Haven't
might
seen
not
it
be.
Time, maybe forgot. Check it out.
It might not be.
I was gonna say I did see today, whenever I was on there fucking around, that they have a commentary track with John Carpenter as he's watching it.
Oh, that's cool. I think it's on Tubi. Possibly.
I saw some comments on YouTube where people like couldn't find this film streaming for like the longest time, and then YouTube put it up for free. So
there you go.
Shout out YouTube.
So be nice to us,
Woo,
YouTube.
YouTube.
We're always promoting you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess, like I said, underrated freaking classic. Another masterpiece from the master of horror, John Carpenter. And, Sam Neill kills it. Jurgen Prochnow, Sutter Kane, man. Creepy looking dude. Das Boot. Oh.
I think he looks like no Gaiman.
Kill him. Yeah. Such a good flick, man. I love this film. And like Chuck said, man, a lot of people don't know about this film. So educate them. Let them know.
Yeah.
Let them know.
Check it out. Do yourself a favor, man. Check this movie out for sure. Okay, that about does it. That is In the Mouth of Madness. It is now time for our random clip of the week, which our random clip generator selects a random clip from a random movie, and we just roll the dice and see what happens. What do we got this week?
Oh boy.
Hey, does that mean they're finished? My turn? Sit. What happened? What did you do? Tell me everything. Huh? Yeah. Well, they have to do that to remove the jaw. Consider yourself very, very lucky. Next. It's me, Arthur Denton. I'm next.
Bill Murray, man.
So that character was played originally by Jack Nicholson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
The original.
That shit's great.
Oh, be
The best fucking shit from that movie is the Steve Martin stuff.
I want to be a dentist.
What did I ever do to you?
There you go. You could put Bill Murray in as Trent. That would be interesting. Because like it almost feels like In the Mouth of Madness is like a really fucked up Groundhog Day. If you think about it, you know,
What the fuck just happened?
it's like if he wasn't stuck in Puxatawny and he was stuck in some fucked up town, Hobbs End, where like the kids are deformed and you got this crazy writer guy hanging out in a church with Dobermans attacking people. Like you got to live that day over and over again.
Well, I'm trying to get to that day.
Vigo.
Oh
right.
man, that would be even crazier. Oh, because then Bill Murray as Trent runs into Vigo. Oh my god, this is fucking my mind.
All right, we
Wife
need money,
to
so
you,
we're gonna run these.
mother
Back.
to me.
Run the ads.
Hey everybody, Laser Trading Company is on YouTube. See some of the videos from Mike's travels and experiences. If you haven't already, please head over and subscribe. 7,800 and growing. Thank you all. Laser Trading Company is also available on eBay with various merchandise and collectibles. Hundreds of great gift ideas. That's Laser Trading Company. Laser Trading Company. Laser Trading Company.
You know him from Bastard Sons of a Judas Goat, Nasty Nation, Graveyard Talk, and the Video Store Clerks Podcast. He is the creator of Stoner Gore.
Jack Nasty! And if you're looking for the latest in extreme horror, head over to Amazon.com. Look up Chuck Nasty, and the following titles are available. Along with the latest album, Decay of Man, from Bastard Sons of a Judas Goat, available on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube now.
Perfect.
And Bandcamp.
Bandcamp.
And Bandcamp.
And Bandcamp.
All right, before we go, what are we doing next week?
Well, if you were one of the viewers that watched the full show from last week with Nightmare, you'll realize that I fucked up. So next week is the third annual Video Store Clerks Thanksgiving special, and we still are doing the Addams Family and Addams Family Values.
We promise. Next week is the Addams Family. We promise.
I didn't
Sounds
look
good,
at
man.
what day Thanksgiving was on. I just knew it was a Thursday and
Sometime in November.
whatever. I don't celebrate holidays, just Halloween.
Yeah,
he's been stuck in Hobbs End, and he's been writing in the mouth of Chadness.
Yes. Wait,
I guess it's better than writing in the mouth of Chodness.
It was a Twinkie.
Whoa.
Well, that changes everything.
I'm not touching that one.
I also want to say real quick that in case anyone happens to be in the Mount Sterling, Kentucky area, Thursday, day after tomorrow, I'm going to be at the library here at Montgomery County Library, along with other local writers and crafters and all kinds of shit or whatever. So I'll be there with a few books and all that fun shit. If anybody wants to come say hi between 4 and 7.
You really want to push some book sales? Go into that library with an axe and just smack it down right there on the table and be like, "Hey, do you read Chuck Nasty?" And then
I'm just kind of curious. I'm hoping there's because it's different genres. It's just a little bit of everything. I'm hoping that I find one or two other horror writers here in town. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, I think because they wanted a bio of because it's like the tables are free and all that shit or whatever, and they only have so many. So they're like, we need bios from authors. So I gave them my bio and a little idea of what the books are and that stuff. I'm kind of shocked they still are having me. So, because it should be interesting though.
They were like, "You ain't got no books out. Fuck it."
Well, the bad thing is fucking. I'm supposed to have Lot Lizards too. I'm supposed to have copies of that right now, but I will not have those because they will not be here till the following week. Yeah, which is bullshit. But anyway, that's what's going on there.
All right,
awesome. All right, we're getting out of here, but I guess there's just one last thing to do.
We'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Did I ever tell you my favorite color is blue?
Do you read SUTTON?